All right, today, Into the Punch podcast, not only do we have one of the Moloney brothers, Andrew Moloney, we also come with a bit of news today, which we're going to get to in a sec. But first, let's just bring him in. Andrew Moloney, welcome to the Punch podcast.
Javen, thanks for having me on, mate.
It's been a little while. You've been very busy, some big fights announced, and looking a lot of sparring and training from what I'm seeing on your socials.
Yeah, always busy, mate. But yeah, glad we could tee this up. Bumped into you in Sydney last year, but yeah, we've been meaning to do this for a while, so
Yeah.
finally here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, you are scheduled on one of the biggest cards for the lightweight you will find this year. I don't think there's probably going to be much bigger than Kambosos Lomachenko, at least scheduled yet. So that's going to be amazing. In Australia, in Perth, you're back in front of your countrymen, and you're getting to do it all again. But there has been, from little whispers that I'm hearing, some little changes to who you might be facing in May.
Yeah, that's right, mate. So firstly, absolutely pumped to be, co-feature on such a huge card. Kambosos Lomachenko in Perth in front of a sold-out crowd, and obviously a huge audience worldwide that's going to be tuning in to watch this fight. So really pumped with the opportunity I've got ahead of me, and fighting for the WBC interim world title. Originally announced that I was fighting Carlos Cuadras, but the day the announcement came out, he actually ruptured his Achilles and was pulled out of the fight. So thankfully, Top Rank and my team worked extremely hard, and that day had a new opponent ready to go in Pedro Rivera, who's a former world champion in the WBC and a very good fighter, who actually fought Cuadras for the interim title, and it was a split decision, that fight, and a lot of people actually thought he deserved to win that fight. So funnily enough, he's ended up being the one who's, next fighting for that belt anyway, and we'll fight for that title on May 12th.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his box rec now. 41 fights, 4 losses, 1 draw. So Mexican Orthodox, and he's already got, I can see his actual box rec photo, as you would if you can flex like that. You've got the world title belt around your waist in your box rec photo. I mean, that shows, right?
Yeah, that's right. He's a very good opponent. His only losses have come to world champions, and they've all been split decisions or majority decisions. So no one's really convincingly beat him. And that's what I plan on doing, being the first one to really dominate this guy and make a statement in the division.
Yeah, looking at his box rec as well, he has pretty much since 21, he's all gone the distance with a lot of them, which is obviously can give you some confidence there as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't look to be the biggest puncher, but has scored a few good knockouts too. Punches to the body pretty well. I've actually watched a lot of footage of him because we were actually in talks to fight him last year for a WBC eliminator. So I'd already sort of started preparing for him when the Nakatani fight got brought up, and we ended up going that way. But yeah, I'm very familiar with Rivera. I've watched a lot of him, and then again, re-going over that footage with my coach over the last week or so, and getting the game plan ready to make sure we get the job done and have that belt strapped around our waist and on to bigger and bigger things. And, a win in this fight really opens up some massive doors.
What do you look for in footage? I always hear a lot of people like, I've watched plenty of tape. I've watched plenty of tape. Is it just trying to find bad habits or how your style would fight their style? What's the number one thing that you could look for in footage?
Yeah, I suppose bad habits. I mean, you look at what they do well and what they don't do well, and you try and take away their strengths and capitalize on the weaknesses. So, yeah, we've been watching quite a bit, and I try not to get too caught up in watching too much. I think that's something I did early on in my career, and you can't try and map out the way the whole fight's going to go in your head because they might bring something different, but we're just looking at a few weaknesses that he's got and a few openings that we can find and take advantage of.
The best thing is this fight will happen pretty much a year to the day, give or take a week, of Vegas. And even chatting to you now, it feels to me like your confidence is well and truly back, and you're at that top elite level as a fighter, and Nakatani is a distant memory. Would you feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just excited and pumped for this fight because, when I had that loss last year to Nakatani, it sort of felt like it was going to be such a huge setback and really be a long time to get back to fighting for this, back to fighting at this level and fighting for world titles. But already in less than 12 months, I'm back fighting for an interim world title, and this fight opens up some massive doors and some huge fights. So I'm just pumped that my team and Top Rank have been able to put me in this position. I've obviously been working extremely hard since that loss, but yeah, it's all paid off, and I'm back in this position much, much faster than what I could ever imagine. So I'm really grateful.
And I've seen on your Instagram too, you've had some pretty quality sparring out from Japan as well. So you look very sweaty. So I'm assuming you were very busy.
Yeah, yeah. No, we've been getting some good work. The Japanese guys are actually out here for Jason. They're both southpaws, but I've been getting some really good rounds in at the moment. I'm flying up 2 sparring partners next week, one from the Philippines and one from Melbourne, who can replicate Pedro Rivera for me, and also getting some rounds this weekend with Rocky Ogden. So getting some really good rounds and making sure that I'm in the best shape possible come May 12th.
How different is he to your original opponent? Is there much in it, or is it a similar? Like how much is it? Because for argument's sakes, we saw this week Tim Zhu trained for a southpaw, then went to an orthodox, and now went to a 20-foot tall southpaw. So there is some adversity there for him. But would yours be as damaging, or is it just more of a slight adjustment for him?
Nah, thankfully for me, it's only a minor adjustment, not like Tim's situation. Yeah, both orthodox, both similar height, and both throw a lot of combinations. Very similar, really, in the way they fight. I just find that Pedro Rivera is much more technical. I think his technique is better than Cuadras. Funny enough, that he actually came up short in that fight, but I find he's actually the neater boxer. Probably prefers to box a little bit more on the outside and is a little bit more tidy, whereas Cuadras was more an aggressive, just all action fighter, just throwing a million punches, trying to put the pressure on. So there's a slight difference there, but it's not going to really affect preparation at all.
We'll be in the country probably in it's 6 weeks from now, roughly, and then it's all looking at Perth, which is one hell of a card. Obviously, yourself there with your new opponent, the headliner George Kambosos Lomachenko. I mean, being an Aussie like you, we support our countrymen, but geez, it's great to see a quality fighter, and I guess such an icon of the sport like Lomachenko in Australia. Like that is like hats off to Top Rank for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that just shows, where Australian boxing is at the moment, to have someone like Lomachenko coming out to Australia, and also last year Devin Haney, and just the events we've had in Australia in the last couple of years, and the fights that Aussies have been involved in is we're really in a really great era at the moment, and I think Australia is really starting to get the respect of the other nations on the world stage.
I don't know if it's you or just me being a bit of a fanboy, but someone like Loma coming out, it's like boxers come out and it's awesome to see them. And I still enjoy seeing yourself, Jason, Tim, George, whoever's around. I'll still enjoy seeing you guys. But when it's Loma, it's something like there's that also Lomachenko. You know what I mean? Do you get that as a fighter? Because I know you and Jason especially are big boxing fans. So he is someone that is, yes, he's a boxer, but he's also like Lomachenko.
Yeah, no, I am still a fan of the sport at the end of the day, and he is an exceptional fighter. I've been lucky enough that I watched him in the amateurs live quite a few times, and then back in 2017, and then also during the bubble, during the COVID days, was there probably one of only 50 people in the room when he fought Teofimo Lopez. So we were 5 meters from the ring, so that was an awesome experience too. But yeah, it's special to have him out in Australia, and then to be co-feature on the card, and in a massive fight myself. Yeah, I'm buzzing for it.
I think Harry Garside's got him tattooed on his legs. So he's a fan. He's definitely a fan. I'm assuming he'll be there. Shanika Johnson
Yeah.
on the card as well, which is amazing. So I'm sure there's probably TBA, a deeper undercard, but I guess the big three, they're there now.
Yeah, no, there's going to be some great fights on the card, and it's going to be an awesome day. Tickets sold out extremely fast, and it looks like an amazing stadium. those sort of basketball sort of stadiums where it's really enclosed and the atmosphere gets trapped in, and it was packed out already, sold at 15,000. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere, and just be fighting back at home in front of a big crowd like that is always a big buzz for me. So yeah, I'm going to make sure that I do everything possible in training camp to make sure I put on the best performance of my career on that day, and set up a huge end to 2024.
Yeah, coming off a win too, so some confidence going into this one, and then you get the joys of fight week, and especially I was around the Cambosis Haney 2 fight week, and I think it was just after yours or Jason's baby was born. That would have probably been very close. Jason's, I think it would have been.
So that would have been mine.
Because I was next to, would have been, I'm assuming your wife and the baby,
Yeah,
when a bit of
yeah,
scuffle broke out in the press conference. And I was
oh, yeah,
literally right next, and I'm like, there's a bloody newborn baby here. And there was
yeah,
like a lot of commotion.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
Lucy was only a couple months old at that stage. So
yeah.
yeah, we're not the best, but I don't think we'll see that sort of stuff this time around. I think there's a fair bit of respect between George and Lomachenko, and Lomachenko's team are the ultimate professionals. I'm sure they won't come with any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that was they do. George does like to bring the energy, which is good, and I guess it does hype up that fight week, and you guys are all there putting on a show under the big bright lights, and I think probably going back to what we are just talking about too, about changing opponents. Obviously, that news with Timzu is quite big for Sebastian Fundora. When you get a call like that, is it? I guess you as you mentioned slight adjustments, but for him, what do you think he was going through when he realised Keith Thurman had just pulled out of his big Vegas fight?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I actually think it's a much better fight than the Thurman fight. And I think it's a more dangerous fight for Tim as well, especially now that he's probably only going to get 1 week of sparring southpaws. And, an opponent like Fundora, similar to when I was preparing for Nakatani, it's hard to find sparring partners that are southpaw and then extremely tall for that weight division. It's very hard to replicate those guys. So the fact that Tim's only going to have really a week of preparing for Fundora is, going to make things much, much more interesting and much more dangerous for Tim. So I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
I'm excited in the sense of Tim seems like now he's just got the shits, because obviously Charlo, all the other stuff that's happened, you got Thurman. It just seems to be like issue after issue. So I almost feel like you don't want to be Fundora in this fight catching this Tim Zoo. That's from what I'm seeing in his face. He's over it. Just wants to just win and fight and
He's
none of the drama.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty disappointed too, because Thurman, although had been out the ring and hasn't been active for the last few years, is still a big name in the sport. And then Charlo was obviously a very big name, and that fight fell through. So all these big names that Tim's trying to get seem to be falling through. And Fundora is known amongst like the hardcore boxing fans, but not really a big name, but definitely a dangerous opponent. So it's sort of added pressure for Tim in this fight, I believe, because it's sort of an unknown guy who's already preparing to fight on that same card. So he's going to be fit. And he was preparing for someone much more like Tim than what Tim was preparing for in Keith Thurman. So all the advantages are really in Fundora's favour.
Yeah, because I saw Tim was filthy that he lost all his southpaw sparring for Lubin when he went to Thurman. But I think maybe the blessing is now he did get a little bit. He did
Yeah.
get a little bit and then adjusted, and now it's kept playing catch up. But I guess, yeah, you're right. So there's a lot happening, obviously, and obviously in the world of Australian boxing too. You guys are very close with Alex Winwood. He was someone I wanted to chat to you about today as well, just in the sense of his future, because it seems massive, but not someone we've really seen under the big bright lights yet. He sort of seems to be doing his own thing over here, and I'd love to see him take the reins at some point.
Yeah, no, he's got actually sparred with Alex this morning. So yeah, we train with each other every day, and he's definitely got a big future ahead of him. Hoping he can break this record and become Australia's fastest tour world champion. He's 4 fights in now, I believe. He's got a big fight coming up, which hasn't been announced yet, but it will be under the bright lights. You'll be happy to know.
Finally.
So he will grab the attention of the Australian public in this fight. And then we'll do so going forward. And he's in a world title eliminator next fight this is his 5th fight, I think. So he's got the eliminator, and then they'll go for the world title in 6 fights to beat the record, which will be amazing if he can pull it off. And I believe he has the skills and everything to get it done. So fingers crossed he can pull it off.
Is it 7 or 8 that Jeff did it in? Jeff Fennick.
7, I believe.
Seven.
I
Seven.
believe
Yeah.
7. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is that'd be unreal. And he's impressed from whatever we've seen, but I think we need to see more, obviously, with that many fights under your belt. But it's crazy to see that sort of escalation, and it just shows his ability, right? You don't get those opportunities unless you're not great.
Yeah, no, that's right. And he fights at minimum weight now, and for that size, he's got some crazy power. So all he needs to do is just find that shot at that weight, and he can put anyone's lights out. So yeah, I've got the faith that he can get that done, and if he can, it's just massive. And then massive for Australian boxing, massive for him, but also massive for our gym. With if he can become world champion, I've got to get it done this year as well. Get a strap around my waist, and then we'll have 3 world champions from the same gym, which will be unbelievable.
Put that on the front door and see how memberships go. Hey?
That's right, mate. That's right.
Let's talk about that Undisputed Fitness. I saw you got the keys this week, and it's all systems go for the reno. Is that where we're at?
That's right. We picked up the keys 2 days ago, and there's been a lot of planning behind the scenes over the last few months, but now we've got the keys. Now it's all systems go. We've got a carpenter in there at the moment. After this podcast, I'll go in there and give him a bit of a hand.
Oh, chuck it on the tool belt.
Yeah, I'm not much of a tradie, I tell you, but
go in with your actual belt. Like I wear boxing belts, not tool belts, mate. I want a green one.
Yeah, that's it. Hang on.
Yeah. There's your new Insta photo.
There you go. It's pretty exciting though. This is something that I've always wanted to do, is open up a gym, and the opportunities come around faster than I would have thought. But yeah, I'm just so pumped about it. So we start the fit out this week, and then we're hoping to get things moving fast, and hopefully we'll open the doors straight after my fight on May 12th. Hopefully that next week we can open the doors and take over the boxing and fitness industry in Australia. We want to be the best gym in Australia. That's the goal. And I don't like to do anything and not be the best, so I'll make sure we're the best.
Is it Tweed Heads? Is it around there? I know it's on the border. Is it close? Yeah.
Yeah, right on the border. But first one's in Tweed Heads. That's where we'll start. We'll cut our teeth, and then hopefully you'll start to see these pop up all around Australia.
I love you've just went straight to franchise. Love it. Businessman C. Hey, life after boxing starts now.
That's it. You always got to aim for the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about this, and I've got a great team with us. Me and Jason are involved, and Steve Scanlon is our business partner, along with our coach Angelo Hyder, and Benny Saber and Viviana have moved up. Benny and Viv are going to be the head trainers and run all the classes for us. Me and Jason will be in there helping out and running some classes too when our schedule allows it. But Benny's an exceptional coach, so we'll leave him in his capable hands of running most of the classes down there, and we'll sort of oversee everything and make sure that we give out the best service. And we're going to have sort of everyone from sort of, your first boxing class all the way up to training pros. We'll cater for all fitness levels and all experience levels, and it's going to be a great workout for everyone.
It's almost an option too for, say, top ranked fighters fighting abroad in Australia, that they could probably base a camp out of Undisputed Fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something we're definitely going to do, and we're partnered up with Everlast as well. So we're 5 or 10 minutes from Gold Coast Airport. So when fighters fly in and need somewhere to train, the doors are open for them. So that's certainly part of the goal. And
let Bob Aaron be known that you'll be charging him top rate. No discounts.
Yeah, Lomachenko's welcome to come in for a hit out if he wants to stop off on his way to Perth.
He can get one of those foundation memberships that are available.
That's it.
Get in there as well.
Jump on undisputedboxing.com.au and get your foundation membership.
sign up. Before I let you go, I do want to pick your brain, being a boxing enthusiast and amazing fighter yourself. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I don't know why I said Tim Tszyu then. Mike Tyson. Never. Well,
Yeah.
hey, never say never. But what do you make of that one? I'm really down the line, which is hard because I love Tyson more than anyone, and yeah, it's a tough one to look at. But what do you make of that fight?
Yeah, I'm really not sure about it myself. Like, I don't mind the whole Jake Paul thing, fighting other sort of MMA fighters or YouTubers or people with a big name. And I didn't mind Mike, coming out and doing an exhibition with Roy Jones, two legends of the sport, putting on an exhibition and making a bit of money. But mixing the two and having a young Jake Paul trying to sort of take the name and take out Mike Tyson. I don't even know if this is a proper fight or if it's an exhibition, but he's basically trying to get the biggest name or one of the biggest names of all time in boxing, and at 57 years old to take him out and sort of build your profile off his name, that doesn't sit too well with me. I hope it ends up all right for Mike and he doesn't get hurt, because there's photos of him recently walking around with a walking stick and stuff, and at 57, and he's put his body through hell over the years. I just hope he doesn't get hurt. It'd be a shame to see.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, even if you could knock him out, do you want to? Do you know what I mean? Like, would you feel that great driving home in the car if you've knocked out Mike Tyson? It's like me playing soccer against Ronaldo when he's 80 and he can't move.
Yeah,
I just put 10 past him. Probably wouldn't even
yeah,
be able
no.
to do that still, but
So I think it's a strange one. I think Jake should have stayed in, the route he was on, fighting MMA guys and, getting towards that KSI fight and, fighting other big names, but keeping that sort of, it's a separate sport as far as I can see. It's not, people need to realize that it's entertainment. It's not professional boxing really. He likes to call out the guys like Canelo and stuff, but let's keep that as a separate sport, because that's just ridiculous. So it's a shame to see him getting in there with Mike. As I said, I just hope it ends okay and Mike doesn't get hurt and it doesn't sort of, tarnish his name at all.
well, what is a real sport is May 12, RAC Arena in Perth, under the bright lights. Boxing is Top Rank. Is that the thing? No, yeah, something like that. You know what it is. But you're going to be there. George Kambosos, Lomachenko, Andrew Moloney, Shanika Johnson, and your new opponent, Pedro
Rivera.
Rivera. There you go. And look, we'll see your hand raised at the end of that one, and we'll be proud as we always are. But I appreciate you jumping on the Punch Podcast today. It's always awesome to see you and chat to you, and it's a lot of fun, and all the best.
Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate you having me on. And yeah, everyone tune in on May 12th. It's going to be an awesome event. And you're right, this is proper boxing. And to have an event like this in Australia is just massive for the sport. So I hope everyone gets behind it and tunes in. And hopefully we got 3 world title belts in Australia after this event on that one day. And yeah, looking forward to it. And now time to put on the tool belt and go and fit out Undisputed Boxing and Fitness.
Back to reality. There you go. And just
Yeah,
before we go, this is boxing. This is Top Rank. I saved myself. There you go. That's the line I was looking for.
that's it. That's the one. Thank you, mate. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you having me on.